Hello, TV&C team managers. This module is about team choice elements. So what is a team choice element and why is it important? Well, this is what encourages the team to show off their own interests and talents and highlight strengths and abilities maybe not included in the central challenge. It's something that they have total freedom to develop. So what is it? All challenges except the improv challenge, Treasure, have team choice elements. And there are 2 of them in each challenge, and each one is worth 30 points. So there are 10 points each for creativity and originality, quality and workmanship, and then integration into the presentation. And I just want to emphasize at this point that the last bullet point, integration into presentation, is the one element scoring point that most teams overlook. So it's very important that it be an integral part of the presentation and very important to the solution. It can't be a specific item that has already been scored. So why are team choice elements important? Well, they do have 60 points associated with them, so that makes them important right there. But they also add a unique element to the presentation that can add to the overall score of the presentation. And the team has complete freedom, unlike with the central challenge elements. It adds pizzazz. So there are 7 different types of, it looks like 8 different types of team choice elements. The most frequently used will be things that are visual and spatial. You also see a lot of words and languages in the team choice elements in the use of puns or jokes or rhyme. And you see a lot of physical movement like dancing, that sort of thing in team choice elements. The others are not quite as often used. Possibly musical, where people write their own music and play it on instruments. Something to keep in mind is that although the team choice elements need to be well done, appraisers will not be evaluating talent in a musical production. So they're not looking for a beautiful opera singer or something like that. They're looking for originality. So if you use music or if you use dance, it needs to obviously be original, something that the team itself came up with or one of the team members came up with. Something to consider when different teams have different processes that they use to determine what their team choice elements are going to be. Some teams plan them from the start. A lot of times they're going to be scenery, costumes, that sort of thing, if they're not already scored elements. But some teams will just go all out in every aspect of their performance and then step back and determine what the best elements are that they can use for their team choice elements that they think will get the highest score. So let's look at some examples. Obviously, we can't look at some examples of music and dance, but we can look at some very visual examples that will help you. This is an example of a team from Homestead in 2016 where they used a lot of their costumes and their scenery as team choice elements. You can see that the flowers were made using some kind of plastic. The feelers for the insect are made out of stockings with trash bags stuffed into them. So this was visually very pleasing and got fairly high scores. This is a costume that is made almost exclusively out of plastic spoons of different colors. So it's just an example of the way something can look really beautiful made out of unusual materials. This is a horse that is made out of wire and rags. it's just something that everybody oohed and awed over at global finals. And it was just, it looked like an incredible feat to make a horse out of these materials. This is an example of a skit that was done completely in black and white. And that year there were several skits in the same challenge done in black and white, but this was the only team that carried it to the degree of having the faces and skin actually done in white. The two team members that you see that don't have white faces were kept completely behind the scenes. All of the performers had wore makeup that made their skin appear white. They got a special award at DI Global Finals for the black and white theme. This is an example of a team that made a lot of costume elements out of everyday items to emphasize their steampunk theme. And again, this is another team that used the steampunk theme and repurposed a lot of clothing items that they got from thrift stores and Goodwill to display to exhibit that steampunk theme. I thought this was really interesting. It's an anteater, and it's made out of a lot of different, those are CDs that were used as the skin or the armor of the anteater. And the year that this was made, this is the walking taco. This was a challenge that required a vehicle to be made that moved using certain propulsion systems. The vehicle itself could not be used as a team choice element, but the decoration into a taco could be used since it was completely able to be appraised on its own. Again, this is another example of a vehicle that was decorated to look like something else, and the decorations themselves were used as a team choice element, but not the vehicle. This is another example of a prop that was made out of yellow spoons. So it's a giant sunflower, and it's just an example of creative use of materials. This team used the word pop as the theme in all of their costumes and their props. Everything that they wore and had in their solution had something to do with the word pop, and that was the team choice element that year, is the word pop. And last but not least, this is actually a picture from the State Fair of Texas in the can exhibit. It's just an illustration of something that can be built out of unusual materials if you're looking at the color and the shape and you're putting them together in an unusual way. So that's team choice elements, visual and spatial